The Lakers just had an insane month, 10 wins in 12 games. That's what the Lakers pulled off this month, and it only got better after the trade for Luka. 9 wins in 11 games since the move, and when he was actually on the floor, they went 5-2. They were winning at an elite rate, ranking 4th in the league in win percentage for the month. That's no joke. They were getting it done, and the numbers back it up in every way. Let's start with their efficiency. They were locked in offensively, ranking 5th in field goal percentage. That means they were not just throwing up shots and hoping for the best. They were getting high-quality looks and making them count. Taking smart shots and making them at a high rate is what separates good teams from great ones. And it was not just about raw field goal percentage. Their shooting efficiency across the board was elite, finishing 5th in effective field goal percentage and 3rd in true shooting percentage. When a team is that efficient, it means they are creating high percentage opportunities and capitalizing on them. They were not settling. They were getting to their spots, taking the right shots and converting it at a top-tier rate. But the real story? The defense. This team was an absolute wall on that end of the floor. They led the entire league in defensive rating, which means they were the best in the league at preventing points per possession. That is not just about effort. That is elite execution, discipline, and players buying into the system. When a team ranks first in defensive rating, it means they are consistently making life miserable for opposing offenses. They were forcing tough shots, contesting everything, rotating properly, and staying locked in for 48 minutes. And they were not just forcing misses. They were cleaning up the glass at an elite level, finishing 4th in defensive rebounds for the month. That is just as important as forcing a bad shot, because if a team cannot secure the rebound, it gives opponents second chances to score. But the Lakers were not allowing that to happen. They were shutting down possessions and immediately getting back on offense. Dominating the boards like that is a huge reason why they were able to stay in control of so many games. That kind of balance, efficient offense and elite defense, is why their net rating was so high. They finished 6th in net rating, which measures how much they were outscoring opponents per 100 possessions. When a team is consistently winning by a solid margin, that means they are taking care of business on both ends, and that is exactly what they did. And when looking at their overall impact on games, their player impact estimate ranked 6th as well. That stat measures how much a team is controlling the game in every aspect, and the Lakers were firmly in the top tier. That is not an easy thing to do, especially in a league where every team is fighting for positioning. But they controlled the pace, dictated the flow of games, and made sure they were the ones setting the tone. The numbers do not lie. This team was dominant all month long, and they proved it in every single way. It was not just about getting wins. It was about how they were winning. They were efficient, locked in, and relentless on both ends of the floor. That is what makes a team dangerous. And they showed exactly why they are a force to be reckoned with. But when I look at the Lakers month, there's 5 main points I noticed that I want to talk about. And first has to be LeBron's dominant month. LeBron James is playing at an unreal level. He's 40 years old, in his 22nd season, and somehow he's still putting up numbers like this. It's not just impressive, it's historic. He averaged 29.4 points, 10.2 rebounds, and 7.3 assists for the month, while shooting over 55% from the field and nearly 46% from 3. That's not just good. That's MVP level production from a guy who's been in the league longer than some of his teammates have been alive. And what's even crazier, he looks like he cares again. He looks like he's having fun again. That's what makes this stretch so special. It's not just the numbers, it's the energy. It's the way he's playing. He's moving with purpose, attacking the rim with aggression, and shooting the ball with confidence. He's got that fire again, and it shows in the way the team is playing around him. When LeBron is locked in like this, the entire team follows his lead. By the way, if you guys enjoy these deep dives, I'll be posting every day during this season. I genuinely appreciate if you could subscribe. Thanks. Anyways, LeBron, but this isn't just a 1-month thing. He's been doing this for a while now. In February, he put up 29.3 points, 10.5 rebounds, and 6.9 assists per game, while shooting nearly 54% from the field and over 44% from deep on more than 7 attempts per game. That's absurd efficiency for anyone, let alone a guy in his 40s. And he wasn't just coasting through games. He had 2 games with over 40 points, 4 games with at least 30, and 6 games where he dished out at least 7 assists. That's pure dominance. But let's take a second to appreciate just how insane that is. He's not just scoring at an elite level, he's doing it while rebounding like a big man and passing like a point guard. There are young superstars who would love to put up numbers like that, but LeBron, he's doing it at 40 years old. That's unheard of. It's one thing to stick around in the league at that age, but to still be playing like one of the best players in the world, that's something only he can do. And if that's not enough, he made history. He became the oldest player in NBA history to average at least 25 points per game for a single month. Think about that. Nobody in the entire history of the league has done what he's doing at this age. Not Michael Jordan, not Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, not Kobe Bryant. Nobody. There have been plenty of legends who played into their late 30s and even early 40s, but none of them have ever been able to sustain this level of production. The wildest part, he's not just scoring. He's rebounding at a high level. He's facilitating at a high level. He's shooting more efficiently than he has in years. His three-point shooting has been lights out, and it's not like he's taking 1 or 2 shots from deep per game. He's launching them at a high volume, and he's hitting them at an elite rate. That changes everything. Defenders can't sag off him anymore. They can't just load up on his drives. He's making them pay from everywhere on the floor. And that's why he's right there in the conversation for Player of the Month with Nikola Jokic. Jokic has been incredible, but LeBron's numbers are right there with his, and the impact he's had on winning has been undeniable. This isn't just an old superstar putting up empty stats. This is a guy who's still carrying a team and making them better every single night. The Lakers have been winning at an elite rate, and LeBron's production has been a massive reason why. The craziest thing about all of this, he doesn't look like he's slowing down. There's no drop-off. There's no sign that he's running out of gas. If anything, he's getting stronger as the season goes on. He's playing big minutes, putting up big numbers, and leading this team like he's still in his prime. And at this point, it's fair to ask if the usual rules even apply to him, because no one has ever done this at this stage of their career. And the way he's doing it, he's making it look easy. He's controlling the pace of the game. He's picking apart defenses. He's getting to his spots and hitting shots with ridiculous efficiency. He's attacking the rim with power and finishing through contact like he's still in his 20s. And when teams try to pack the paint, he's stepping back and knocking down threes like a sharpshooter. There's just no way to stop him when he's playing like this. But beyond the numbers, beyond the records, the biggest takeaway from this stretch, he looks happy. He looks engaged. He looks like he's having fun again. And when LeBron is having fun, when he's locked in and playing with this kind of energy, the entire team feeds off it. That's why they've been winning at such a high rate. That's why they've looked so dangerous. Because when LeBron is playing at this level, everything just clicks. And let's not forget how much pressure is on him to keep this going. He's doing all of this while carrying a massive workload. He's playing big minutes, going up against younger and fresher legs every night, and still putting up numbers that rival the best players in the league. It's not just about skill. It's about durability. It's about consistency. It's about finding a way to keep playing at an elite level when most players his age are either out of the league or barely hanging on. This isn't just a great stretch for a player his age. This is a great stretch, period. These are MVP level numbers. These are numbers that define an elite player in the prime of his career. And yet somehow, LeBron is doing it in year 22. It doesn't make sense, but at this point, nothing he does really makes sense anymore. He's rewritten the rules for what longevity looks like in the NBA. And what makes it even crazier, he's not just doing this in random games. He's doing it in high pressure situations. He's delivering it night after night when his team needs him most. He's setting the tone, dictating the pace, and proving that he's still one of the most dominant forces in the league. And if this is any indication of what's coming, the rest of the league better be ready. Because LeBron isn't just playing well, he's dominating, and he's showing no signs of slowing down anytime soon. But after that, the second thing I want to talk about though, the trade and how it changed everything. Everything changed for the Lakers the moment they traded for Luka. This isn't just a superstar coming in and putting up big numbers. It's a complete transformation of how the Lakers play. Luka's presence has reshaped their entire approach on offense, defense, rebounding, and even the way they control the tempo of games. Since joining the team, Luka has played 7 games, averaging 21 points, 9 rebounds, and 6 assists in under 30 minutes per game. That might not sound like his usual numbers, but his impact is far greater than just raw stats. The Lakers are playing their best basketball of the season, and it all starts with how Luka is elevating everyone around him. Let's talk about his shooting impact. The Lakers are knocking down shots at the 4th highest percentage in the league since the trade, and a huge reason for that is Luka's ability to create open looks. His gravity on the floor forces defenses to collapse on him, opening up space for his teammates to get better quality shots. The numbers prove it. Since the trade, the Lakers are 4th in effective field goal percentage and 5th in true shooting percentage. That means they're not just making shots at a high rate, they're also taking smarter, more efficient ones. Luka's ability to manipulate defenses is something the Lakers haven't had at this level in a long time. He controls possessions, forcing defenders to make impossible choices. Do they collapse on his drives and leave shooters wide open? Do they send help early and risk Luka making the perfect pass? There's no easy answer, and that's why the Lakers' offensive efficiency has skyrocketed with him on the floor. His playmaking has been just as impactful. The Lakers are now 10th in assists and 9th in assist-to-turnover ratio, meaning they're not just moving the ball well, they're doing it without making costly mistakes. Luka's presence has changed the way this team shares the ball. He's assisting on over a third of the team's made shots while on the floor, and his assist-to-turnover ratio is among the best in the league for high-usage players. And then there's the rebound. Luka has never been considered an elite rebounder, but his numbers tell a different story. He's averaging 8.2 boards per game, ranking higher than 82% of players. But the real value comes from his defensive rebound. He's grabbing 7.4 defensive rebounds per game, ranking in the 86th percentile in defensive rebound percentage. That means he's securing a massive chunk of available defensive rebounds whenever he's on the floor. His rebounding is allowing the Lakers to push the pace in ways they couldn't before. Instead of relying on big men to grab the board and then wait for a guard to bring the ball up, Luka is taking the rebound himself and immediately starting the fast break. That's a game changer. It speeds up their offense, creates easier scoring opportunities, and keeps defenses scrambling in transition. And let's not ignore his defense. Luka isn't known as a lockdown defender, but he's been much better than people give him credit for. He's ranking in the 96th percentile in mixed team defense, meaning he's preventing points at a better rate than almost every player in the league. He's also averaging 1.9 steals per game, higher than Anthony Davis's 1.3. That's a huge shift in how the Lakers play defense. Instead of relying on one shot blocking big man to anchor everything, they're playing a more aggressive, disruptive style. Luka is getting into passing lanes, deflecting passes, and turning defense into offense. The Lakers have completely shifted their defensive approach, and the results speak for themselves. They're still first in defensive rating since the trade. Losing Davis hasn't changed that. If anything, they've become even more locked in on team defense. Luka's presence is also keeping LeBron fresh. Before the trade, LeBron had to do everything: create shots, control the pace, and initiate the offense. Now Luka is handling a massive portion of that workload, allowing LeBron to conserve energy and be even more efficient. That's why LeBron's shooting numbers have improved since the trade. He's not forcing as many difficult shots because Luka is setting him up for easier ones. This shift is also impacting the Lakers' pace of play. They're 9th in the league in pace since the trade, meaning they're pushing the tempo when needed, but still controlling possessions when necessary. That's exactly the balance you want in a team looking to make a deep playoff run. Luka knows when to slow things down, when to attack early, and when to pick apart a defense. That control is something the Lakers desperately needed. His ability to dictate the flow of the game is also showing up in the Lakers' overall impact metrics. They're 7th in player impact estimate since the trade, meaning they're not just winning games, they're controlling them. Luka's ability to manage possessions, create for others, and keep the team locked in is why they've looked so dominant. And then there's the advanced stats that prove Luka's true value. His offensive rating is a ridiculous 120.7, meaning when he's on the floor, the Lakers' offense is at an elite level. His defensive rating is 110.4, which is actually better than Davis's 114.1. That's a massive shift that shows Luka is contributing on both ends, not just as a scorer. His net rating, one of the best indicators of overall impact, is plus 10.3. That means when Luka plays, the Lakers outscore opponents by over 10 points per 100 possessions. That's an elite number. Davis, by comparison, had a net rating of just plus 1.7. That's not even close. Luka is having a much larger impact on winning, and the on-off numbers tell the same story. When Luka is on the floor, the Lakers' point differential improves by plus 7.9. That's a massive swing. Davis's on-off number was plus 2.3, which is solid, but nowhere near Luka's level. Luka isn't just producing stats, he's directly making the Lakers better every second he's on the court. His presence also forces defenses to completely change how they approach the Lakers. With Davis, teams focused on protecting the paint. Now with Luka, they have to worry about elite playmaking, deep three-pointers, and pick-and-roll mastery. That makes life easier for everyone, especially LeBron, who no longer faces as many double teams. Even in clutch moments, Luka's impact is undeniable. Before, LeBron had to do everything late in games: create, score, and set up teammates. Now, Luka can take over those responsibilities allowing LeBron to conserve energy for when it truly matters. That's going to be a huge advantage down the stretch. At the end of the day, Luka isn't just making the Lakers better, he's making them different. He's changed the way they play, the way they attack, and the way they defend. The Lakers haven't just added a superstar. They've built a system around someone who makes everyone better. That's why they're dominating. That's why they're winning. And that's why this trade might end up being one of the biggest in NBA history. Luka isn't just another star in Los Angeles. He's the piece that could take them to the top. After Luka, though, I want to talk about Rui's emergence and how much it's benefited the Lakers. I know he recently got injured, but I still want to talk about how great he was. Rui's emergence has been one of the biggest stories of the season for the Lakers. Before his injury, he was playing the best basketball of his career, thriving as the fourth option behind LeBron James, Luka, and Austin Reeves. His efficiency, his shot selection, his defense, his off-ball movement, it all came together at the perfect time. He wasn't just fitting in, he was excelling, and the numbers prove it. Rui's offensive efficiency has been elite. His true shooting percentage sits at 62.1, ranking in the 86th percentile. That's an insane number for a fourth option. He wasn't just scoring, he was maximizing his opportunities, taking smart shots, and finishing at an elite rate. His ability to capitalize on limited touches made him one of the most efficient scorers in the league this season. His shot quality sits at 67.4, ranking in the 75th percentile. That means he was consistently getting high percentage looks. He wasn't forcing bad shots. He wasn't settling for contested jumpers. Every shot he took was within the flow of the offense. That's what made him so dangerous. Defenses couldn't afford to ignore him, but at the same time, he wasn't taking away touches from the team's stars. His three-point attempt rate is at 37.9%, ranking in the 41st percentile. He wasn't chucking up threes at an outrageous rate, but he was taking just enough to stretch the floor. And with his efficiency, that number could have easily risen as the season continued. He was proving himself as a legitimate perimeter threat, making defenders think twice before leaving him open. His turnover rate was another huge factor in his success. His CTOV sits at 6.1%, ranking in the 84th percentile. That's an elite mark for a player in his role. He wasn't making careless mistakes, he wasn't forcing passes, and he wasn't giving away possessions. With high usage stars like Luka and LeBron handling the ball most of the time, having a guy like Rui who can take care of the ball and still score efficiently was invaluable. His offensive load was 22.2, ranking in the 33rd percentile. That number shows that while he wasn't a primary offensive option, he was still playing a significant role in the offense. He wasn't just a role player standing in the corner, he was an active contributor who knew exactly when to step up. His portability rating sits at 6.5, ranking in the 79th percentile. That means he was one of the best players in the league at fitting into different lineups. He didn't need a high number of touches to be effective. He could play alongside high usage stars, adapt to different roles, and still make a major impact. His offensive plus-minus sits at negative 0.2, ranking in the 69th percentile. That number may not jump off the page, but for a fourth option, it's fantastic. It means that despite not being a primary ball handler, Rui was still impacting the offense in a positive way. His defensive impact has been just as impressive. His defensive rebounding percentage is 0.9, ranking in the 80th percentile. That's a huge mark for a player in his role. He was securing defensive rebounds, eliminating second chance opportunities, and helping the Lakers get out in transition. His defensive versatility was one of the most valuable aspects of his game. His versatility rating sits at 69, ranking in the 73rd percentile. That means he could defend multiple positions at a high level. He wasn't just a one-dimensional wing. He could guard different matchups, switch onto bigger players, and still hold his own. His foul rate was negative 0.7, ranking in the 85th percentile. That means he was staying disciplined on defense and not putting opponents on the free throw line. That's a critical skill for a defender, because too many players negate their defensive impact by fouling too often. Rui was playing physical, smart defense, without putting the team at a disadvantage. His defensive plus-minus sits at negative 0.1, ranking in the 47th percentile. That's a solid number for a player in his role. He wasn't a primary defensive stopper, but he was playing his role well, making the right rotations, and contesting shots when needed. His on-off numbers tell the full story of his impact. When Rui was on the floor, the Lakers were simply better. His net rating sits at plus 3.5, meaning the Lakers outscored opponents by over 3 points per 100 possessions when he was on the court. That's an amazing number for a fourth option. His on-off impact is plus 2.4, meaning the Lakers' scoring margin improved when he played. That's a huge stat, because it proves that Rui wasn't just putting up good numbers. His presence was directly helping the team win. His plus-minus was positive in 47.9% of games he played in. That means that in almost half of the games Rui appeared in, the Lakers were outscoring opponents while he was on the floor. That's a huge mark for a player who isn't the team's primary option. His offensive rating sits at 115.5, which is an elite number for someone in his role. That means the Lakers' offense was operating at an elite level when Rui was on the court. His defensive rating is 112.1, which proves that the Lakers' defense didn't drop off when he was playing. He was holding his own, making the right plays, and ensuring the team remained strong on that end of the floor. Every number backs up Rui's massive impact. He was playing at an elite efficiency level, taking smart shots, playing disciplined defense, and thriving alongside the team's star. The Lakers needed a reliable fourth option who wouldn't disrupt the flow of the game, and Rui became that player. His ability to space the floor, defend multiple positions, and stay efficient without high usage made him the perfect complementary piece next to LeBron, Luka, and Reeves. He was playing within the system, making the most of his opportunities, and doing exactly what a championship caliber team needs from a role player. But now, with him out due to injury, the Lakers need him back as soon as possible. There's no denying how much they've missed his efficiency, floor spacing, and defensive presence since he's been sidelined. He was playing the best basketball of his career, proving himself as one of the most valuable role players on the roster. The Lakers have done their best to keep things rolling without him, but his absence is noticeable. The good news, when he comes back, he'll immediately make an impact. His game isn't built on high usage or ball dominance. He thrives within the flow of the offense. So when he returns, there won't be an adjustment period. He'll step right back in, knock down open shots, play solid defense, and give the Lakers the perfect complementary piece they've been missing. And if he picks up right where he left off, the Lakers are going to be even more dangerous than before. Rui's emergence was one of the best things to happen to this team. And once he's back, his impact will be felt immediately. But lastly, I want to talk about losing Anthony Davis was a massive hit to the Lakers' rebounding. He was pulling down 12 boards per game, ranking in the 97th percentile among all players. That kind of production isn't easy to replace. But instead of relying on one guy to fill that void, the Lakers have completely changed their approach to rebounding. And the numbers prove that it's working. They've stepped up as a team, and it's everyone making an impact. The biggest shift has come in how they attack the glass collectively. Instead of having one dominant rebounder like Davis, they now have multiple players contributing at a high level. Luka, LeBron James, Hayes, Jared Vanderbilt, Jordan Goodwin, Austin Reeves, and Rui have all increased their rebounding efforts, and it's completely reshaped the way this team competes on the boards. Luka has been a monster on the defensive glass, pulling down 7.5 defensive rebounds per game, ranking ahead of 87% of players. He's securing 20.35% of all available defensive rebounds when he's on the floor, which is a massive number. And when you pair that with LeBron, who's grabbing 7.1 defensive rebounds per game, the Lakers have two elite-level rebounders who can immediately turn stops into fast breaks. But it's not just about those two. Hayes and Vanderbilt have been relentless, cleaning up the glass at a ridiculous rate. Hayes is pulling in 1.4 offensive rebounds per game with an offensive rebound percentage of 7.55%, ranking ahead of 81% of players. Vanderbilt, even better. He's grabbing 1.6 offensive boards per game with an offensive rebound percentage of 10.58%, ranking ahead of 92% of players. That's been a game changer. Before, Davis handled most of the rebounding responsibilities on his own. Now, the Lakers are crashing the boards as a unit, and they're getting more second chance opportunities than ever before. But the real difference maker? The guards and wings have stepped up too. Jordan Goodwin has been shockingly effective on the offensive glass for his size. He's grabbing 1.5 offensive rebounds per game with an offensive rebound percentage of 9.02%, ranking ahead of 87% of players. That's not normal for a guard. He's playing bigger than his position, fighting for loose balls, and giving the Lakers extra possessions that they weren't getting before. And then there's Reeves, who's not known for his rebounding, but is still making an impact. He's pulling in 3.4 defensive rebounds per game, which isn't eye-popping, but it means he's helping secure stops and preventing second chance points. That's the difference between solid team rebounding and elite team rebounding when everyone chips in. Even Rui, before his injury, was having his best rebounding season ever. He was pulling down 5.2 boards per game, ranking ahead of 56% of players. That's a massive leap for someone who was never known as a great rebounder before. And his offensive rebounding, 1.5 offensive boards per game, which ranked ahead of 61% of players. What makes this rebounding surge even more impressive is how balanced it is. Luka, LeBron, and Vanderbilt dominate the defensive glass, ensuring that opponents aren't getting easy second chance points. Luka alone is securing over 20% of available defensive rebound, while LeBron is at 19.6% and Vanderbilt is even higher at 20.96%. Meanwhile, Hayes, Vanderbilt, and Goodwin are thriving on the offensive glass, creating second chance opportunities. Hayes is ranking ahead of 66% of players in offensive rebounding, while Vanderbilt is putting up numbers that rank him ahead of 92%. Goodwin, despite being a guard, is grabbing offensive rebounds better than 87% of players in the league. The result? The Lakers aren't just surviving without Davis. They're thriving. They're dominating the rebounding battle in ways they weren't before. They've shifted from relying on one dominant presence to having a group of players stepping up in different ways. Luka and LeBron aren't just grabbing rebounds, they're turning them into fast break opportunities. The moment they secure a defensive board, they're pushing the pace, forcing defenses to scramble and generating high-efficiency transition plays. Hayes and Vanderbilt aren't just cleaning up misses, they're keeping possessions alive with relentless energy. Every offensive rebound they grab means another shot attempt, another chance to score, and another moment where the opposing team is forced to play extra defense. Goodwin and Reeves aren't just helping out, they're making sure there are no weak links on the glass. When a guard can grab extra rebounds, it takes pressure off the bigs, allowing them to focus on rim protection and contesting shots rather than always boxing out. And before Rui got hurt, he was doing a little bit of everything, playing his best basketball and proving that he could be a reliable presence on the boards. The best part? This rebounding approach is sustainable. Davis was a generational rebounder, but he also absorbed a huge amount of responsibility on the glass. That's great when he's healthy, but it also meant the Lakers were too dependent on him. Now, they're proving they can win the rebounding battle without needing one guy to do all the work. They have Luka, LeBron, and Vanderbilt as elite defensive rebounders. They have Hayes, Vanderbilt, and Goodwin crashing the offensive glass. They have guards like Reeves stepping in to secure extra boards when needed. It's a team-first approach, and it's working. They're limiting opponents to one shot, creating extra possessions, and making sure they control the tempo of the game. They're not giving up easy second chance points, and they're forcing teams to earn everything. This is why they haven't fallen off since trading Davis. They didn't try to replace him with one player, they changed their system. They built a rebounding strategy that spreads the responsibility across the entire roster, and it's paying off in a huge way. They might not have a single player pulling down 12 boards per game anymore, but what they do have is a team full of guys who are rebounding at an elite level in their roles. And that's why they're still winning. If you guys enjoyed this, I'll be posting every day during the season. I genuinely appreciate it if you could subscribe. Thanks for watching.